What's up, everybody? This is the Apostles' Corner, and welcome
Hey.
live. We doing something a little different, so we may have been a little choppy. Just my welcome, it felt a little weird, but we here
We are here.
live from Memphis, Tennessee, and I have a special guest with me today. She's no stranger; she's just a guest. Dr. Kimberly Harris. Once
Hey.
again, she's probably going to talk way more than I will today. Listen, I am your host, Brian A. Harris of the Apostles Corner. Listen, this is going to be a phenomenal show. It's going to be great. And guess what, y'all? 2024 has brought some new things to us. We're going to be able to come live for every single solitary and I just forgot to hit record on my audio. So this is exactly how it's going to start for you when you listen, but you won't miss anything.
Right.
So, yeah. Again, welcome to the Apostles Corner for those who are going to be on the audio. I am your host, Apostle Brian Harris, and this is my co-host, Dr. Kimberly Harris. Hey, come on live and just go ahead and share, and let's get involved. I'm going to tell you right now, if you are a first lady, or if you have a first lady, and when I say first lady, I mean like of a church, or well, we might be able to put this in any category. We're just gonna say if you know of a first lady or you have a first lady, this is the show for you. Don't miss out on this. This is gonna be some good stuff. We're on live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can go to Apostles Corner anywhere and get this show today. It's gonna be phenomenal. I just know that the intensity of the conversation between my wife and myself has already gone forth. So this is going to be very, very interesting for us all. So let's just go ahead and get started. I want to say, first of all, congratulations to the Apostles Corner. I think about a week or two ago, we hit 1,000 downloads, and it took us 2 years, but we got 1,000 downloads based on our one of our hosting sites, which is Buzzsprout, and this is just the audio version only. This has nothing to do with YouTube or Facebook or any other those analytics or anything like that. This is just Buzzsprout. I do have another one that I have that hosts my podcast, which is what is it? Anchor, but I think it has switched over to something else. And so, but anyway, this is just Buzzsprout only. We are at 1,000. Matter of fact, I looked the last time I looked, we had 1,001 subscribers and downloads. So that's you. That's all of you from all over the world, really, literally all over the world. We have people downloading even from different countries, Russia, Africa, shucks, Asia,
Everywhere.
all kinds of places, everywhere. And I'm not making it up. It's real. It's on the map. So I'm really grateful for everybody who literally download this podcast from all over the world. It doesn't give me your name, but it does give me your city and your state. And so I really appreciate it. And hats off to Memphis, because we still don't know a whole lot of people here in Memphis, but Memphis is one of my number one markets. It is one of my number one markets. And so I'm really grateful for the people in Memphis. I'm really honored that they either interested or they at least paying attention to what's going on here at the Apostles Corner. So I'm gonna look at that as a check and a positive, and we're gonna keep it rolling. Hey, listen, I want to take this opportunity again to say thank you for that. But I also, while you're paying attention, I don't want to miss this moment or opportunity or not use this platform to tell you about the Influencers Conference. The Influencers Conference is going to be June the 7th through the 8th, 2024. And right now, I'm telling you, it's going to be phenomenal. It's the first conference I've had in probably 20 something years, over 20 years. And right now it's the early bird special that ends March 31st, $50, $25 per student. And listen, it's going to be amazing conference. We have a great lineup. And even those of y'all who are out of state or somewhere, all you have to do, we have a virtual option. You'll be able to get a link to all of the classes and just really just get a good outpour of wealth of knowledge and things that you may have questions about. You'll be able to ask your questions even in the virtual space. So we want you to be a part of that. And can you put that back up there for me so that they can know what to do? Just scan that QR code right there. Scan that QR code right now. It will lead you through every little step that you need to take to sign up for and register for our conference. I just believe it's going to be phenomenal. God gave it to me. I have high hopes. Great things are happening. People are actually registering, and I'm grateful. So please, by all means, save your seat. I promise you, you want to do it, save your seat. And we even, Lord's willing, we'll be able to create even more space for you. And we'll have vendors and all kinds of stuff there and food and all that for you. It's just going to be amazing. So just go ahead and do that. And I think that you will be grateful that you did. All right. So this is season 4. Episode 5 or 6.
I don't know.
I think it's 5 or 6. I got confused because I usually don't do them live, but 5 or 6. I forgot to check. 5 or 6. All right. So we've been talking about labels since the end of last year. And so we've been talking about, we started the season out with a live broadcast with teenagers from all over the 2 or 3 different states, 3 or 4 different schools, I guess. And they were, a panel. And so we started talking about labels. And I literally, the last episode I did, I was like, you know what? I feel like I'm stuck. I'm not inspired to continue talking about labels until a conversation we had a few days ago about something that means something to you. And it actually means something to me too. And it means something to both of us. And I think it's something that's kind of out of a box because we don't think about it. I think this conversation and this subject today is well overlooked, and the conversation is overdue.
Absolutely.
I think the subject is overlooked and the conversation is overdue. And I think it's really time to put some ideologies to sleep or to death. It depends on how you want to talk today. And I think that it's going to be interesting, the things that people get to know you. And I'm just going to go and say it. Because you've seen, if you follow the Apostles Corner or me on social media, you already know what we're talking about. We're talking about first ladies, the label of first ladies. Right. And so I think people have labeled the first lady. I believe they, based on their either life experience with first ladies growing up, or I think there's a lot of unhealthy ideologies and expectations that people have of the first lady, and all of that. And so this may be one of those conversations where you're gonna get information, inspiration. You might get your feelings hurt. You might leave this conversation feeling some type of way. You may even call your first lady up today and apologize for the thoughts you thought about your first lady having these ideologies about your first lady, and putting her under the kind of pressure that most women wouldn't have to go through, just being who they are as a regular, regular individual. So I'll start off because I'm the pastor. You're the first lady because I'm the pastor. So here's my idea of the first lady. The first lady don't really belong. That's okay. Let me just back up. Let me deconstruct. Since everybody, because you have these theologians on social media. They're only social media theologians who are posting things like there ain't no office of the first lady, there ain't no this, there ain't no that of the first lady. But then they have this ungodly expectation of the first lady, although there is no biblical office of the first lady. There is no real biblical ministry for the first lady. Lady, oh my God, let's not get to that. Lady elect. And I guess they feel like there's more anointing in the election of a first lady, because the only person who elected you was your husband. You know, you didn't get married to a pastor. You got married to a person.
Right.
You got married to a man who just so happened to have a call on his life, who was going to be a pastor. You didn't ask for any of this.
Right.
And in most cases, I'll say some women don't ask for this.
Right.
However,
there are some who do.
There are some that are ambitious, and they only seek out for that place. Right. And so we're going to talk about all of that, all of that today. So my idea is the first lady is the first lady because she's my wife. And your ministry is not really to the people in that office. Your ministry is to me.
Right.
Right. Doesn't mean that you don't have to be kind to people, nice to people, loving to people, all of that. You know, we're building this together, ministry in a church together. At our church, you're considered more to me as an executive pastor as it relates to our church, but you're my first lady because you're my wife. So again,
right. I'm just your wife.
Yeah, you know, you my wife, you know.
I'm not your first lady.
But the expectations, the unlawful expectations, the ungodly, unfair thoughts and ideologies and different things that people think. And so, like I said, some women actually think, and I'm going ahead of myself just to wet to people's ears, get them on here because it's Friday and they running around. But I will say this, I really am nervous when people set out to be a first lady. I think that's a little weird desire to set out to be a first lady when really there is no, no real, no real calling for that. You know, it is, but it isn't. I'll say that it is, but it isn't, because God knows what we pastors need in a first lady. All first ladies that have the label first lady really aren't good first ladies, and sometimes they're the very reason why the pastor isn't even successful. So I'm just gonna go ahead and let you have that, and let you give. We'll just talk. We'll just go, because this is unscripted. This is candid, and I really think that people need to hear your heart, because I have been offended by people's idea of you as a first lady, not because you are not good enough, but because you put her in a box and you don't get to know who she really is. And when you don't get to know who she really is, you limit your opportunity to get to know the greatness of the Dr. Kimberly R. Harris. And people don't understand why I call you doctor. Well, I call her doctor, one, because she's achieved it. Nobody gave her anything. Number two, I call her doctor because I saw her do the work. So that's the reason why I call her doctor. I give her ultimate respect. Now, when I'm not in front of people, I call her baby, I call her honey, I call her sweet, I call her big baby, I call her all kinds of names, that I cannot mention on this podcast. But at the end of the day, I call her doctor because I have respect for the work that she put into it. And it wasn't any joke. I saw her do the work. So I have a lot of respect for that. Go ahead. What do you have to say about, I already know, but what do you have to say about this first lady thing? Let's talk about it.
Where to begin?
Everywhere.
I really don't, I don't particularly care for the label of the first lady, and just because it has such a negative connotation for so many people. And when people put that label on you, then they put on you not only their own trumped up expectations, but then they also put on you what their experiences have been with other people who had that same label. Right. And so I have, outside of the church, outside in the church, but outside of the pastorate, I have been called many things. And within the role of the first lady, which I am the pastor's wife.
Right. Pretty much.
I've been called a lot of things, and assumptions have been made about
Yeah,
me
yeah.
because I don't fit into the box that people put first ladies into. And there's so many different boxes,
It's a
really.
lot of boxes.
And it's like
Believe me.
they want you to jump out of one and
And
into the
another
other.
one. Yeah.
And then there's some that it's like they just throw you in there because you don't know me, well enough to, know where I fit or if I fit, because I don't feel like I fit in any of the boxes that I have seen of what people's idea and expectation of a first lady is. And I don't care what, kind of bow you put on it, is still a box.
Right.
And
say that again, because he said that yesterday, and that just blew me out. That just blew me away when you said that. You don't care what kind of bow you put on it. In other words, the bow can be off the chain. The box can be wrapped real pretty.
Yeah.
But it's still a box.
It's still a box.
That was good to me.
Yeah, it's still a box. And I'm not really interested in a box.
Yeah.
Because, and I say this to you all the time, I've been saying this for years, just about life in general, we get one. Like I get one of these, and I dare not let anybody else who also gets to make decisions for their own one life that they get, who are not going to let me determine for them who they are and who they should be, just because I'm married to you and you are a pastor and I'm a pastor's wife because I'm your wife. You know what I'm saying? God didn't just call me to be a pastor's wife. I'm your wife and you're a pastor, so I'm a pastor's wife. Just because people feel like they have some claim on the office of first lady, I mean, you can have that because
you can have it.
I'm the pastor's wife.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whatever you think a first lady is, that's your business, and whatever expectations you have, that's your business. But I don't have to ascribe to that because that's what's in your head. Right. And I've never done that to any pastor that I've sat under. Whoever the pastor's wife was, that's who she was. I tried to get to know who she was. And they didn't. That wasn't always a great experience because some people don't want to be known.
Right. That's true.
And so there was some disappointment there for me, not because they didn't meet my expectations, but just because I didn't get to know them.
Right.
For who they were.
Yeah.
And so I don't really like the label of first lady because because first ladies a lot of times get the label of being mean. And people are like, oh, it's the first lady that's tearing up the church. And that's why the pastor can't get nothing done because the first lady's so mean and she don't like nobody. And I know when we pastored our church in Northwest Arkansas, it was a while after we had been pastoring and, some things had hit the fan. And then all of a sudden, everybody's real feelings came out.
Right.
And it was said of me that, by someone who was supposed to love me and be there for me. And, that, oh, well, people have, were saying that you were mean and why is she always looking like that? And I stood up for you and I told them, you don't know what she's been through and all this. And I'm like, well, you stood up for me, but while you were sitting and listening to them talk about me and never brought it up. And this is the first time hearing about it. Right. But little did they know that, I'm just not looking mean. I was in pain.
Yeah.
Because I was sick and still having to do everything that I had to do for the church. And not only for the church, but for my husband and for my small child, because Kiana was little then, so I'm in physical pain. Nobody cared. Right. I'm in an invisible physical pain. Right. And nobody cared.
Right.
In emotional pain and nobody cared. Just, there were so many things that were going on with me at the time while I was completing my doctorate.
Right. Exactly.
While I went through a lot of things, more than one bout of physical illness, surgery, all kinds of things.
Finished your doctorate with a boot on.
Right. Almost had to wear the boot to graduation.
Right. Yeah.
I missed it by like a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there was no consideration of what I was going through. It's just what I don't look like I'm being for the people. Right. And so it's really, I think a lot of people don't, because even though we don't make and we shouldn't make the pastor the center of attention. God is supposed to be the center of attention in
Absolutely.
church.
Yes.
But a lot of times the pastor is the
center.
superstar and the center of attention. And the family of the pastor, we're just tag-alongs. We are just the people that you have to put up with because we come along with the pastor as, we're part of the package. And so I'm speaking, for first ladies today, but it would be interesting to have more first ladies on, but also pastors' kids, and we've talked about that some.
We can do that.
Yeah, we've talked about that some, but I think even the pastors' kids get more airtime as far as people listening to them than the pastors' wives. People feel like you are just supposed to be what they need you to be when they need you to be it, and and I'm talking about 100% of the time. You better be on 100% of the time. You better be available 100% of the time, and you better have your face right. 100% of the time. Your attitude better be straight. 100% of the time. You better be ready for whatever the people have to bring you. 100% of the time. And then most of the time, nobody's concerned with, well, what kind of day did you have? What's going on in your life? What's going on, in your mind? What kind of attack are you under? Because the devil does not leave me alone just because I'm the first lady. You know what I'm saying?
Because truth be told, we're doing this podcast right now, and we got some bad news today.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Bad enough news to just shut all the way down.
Well, and
cry.
Even when we were talking about this yesterday, was it yesterday?
Whatever day it was.
No, wait. I don't know what day of the week it was, but see, sometimes at the first lady, you don't even know what day of the week it is because there's so much going on. But when we were talking about it, it was so much that I was already dealing with that I was in tears at my desk working, but it was because I'm so passionate about this because I live this every day. I live this every day. And that's one of the things that's frustrating is because I don't really even have other pastors' wives that have been willing to connect with me.
This is the part I want to get to
throughout ministry so that we can help one another.
This is the part I want to get to right there. I want to slow the boat down, hit the brakes. Let's go ahead. I'm for real. Let's stop right there. With the body of Christ, being the body of Christ, with the people of God, we talk this talk about unity and togetherness and oneness and all of this stuff that come across a pulpit. But when it's like when benediction is over, everybody pick up their purse, everybody get their briefcase, everybody get their entourage, and they run off. You see what I'm saying? You got saved because I witnessed to you. You did not grow up in church. You didn't know any of this coming into Christ or church. I've been a church boy all of my life. I've watched my mom go through the very things you're talking about right now. Like literally almost to the point where I don't know if it was by choice or it was by force. I don't know what it was, but I observed a very quiet mom growing up. I observed a very broken individual growing up, and my passion was for my mom to the point where my mom used to come into my room when my dad got ready to leave and go to pastors' meetings with pastors and wives. And my mom, before they walked out the door, would come in my room and ask me, how does she look? Like, do you think this is nice? Do you think this, this shirt go with this suit? And it almost brought me to tears just that quick because I can still see it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got 3 sisters and you coming to ask me, how you look because, you already know that the very clothes on your back will be judged by other first ladies and their spouses if you walk in the room with the wrong material on your back. Yeah. And so you're scared to even leave home. Probably didn't want to ask my dad because, we pastors sometimes get in pastor mode and we just want to work. And we forget that we have a spouse that really need to hear from us and say, hey, you look good. You know how I do you. I do you like that all the time. You look good, baby. You look good. I'll say that, but it's a reason why I say that, because I became sensitive to women, and I became sensitive to your appearance before I ever met you because of my mom. I learned that from having to tell my mom over and over, hey, look, you look fine. You all right. Most of those women are almost dead anyway. So they got their funeral clothes on. You were fine. But the problem was she was young though. That was the problem. She was young in those days, and she just wanted to make sure she was enough, because the worst thing in this world is to be a first lady full of the Holy Ghost, baptized, loving Jesus, and go into a room of a bunch of old judgmental first ladies who's sick of their husbands, who can't stand the church, and just bitter about everything, and judging the length of your skirt, judging everything, your stockings, your shoes. Baby, you shouldn't, you get tired of that. It takes us the focus completely off God and on all of this stuff, and you forcing people to be insecure about themselves because they don't know if they're gonna wear the wrong clothes in a pastor's meeting. That should be more focused on whatever y'all talking about than what I got on. And so I've even had to tell you before, when we first got married, I used to tell you, if we go to this type of church, you can't wear this. You didn't grow up in church. Nobody cared that you didn't grow up in church. Nobody knew you didn't know the rules of church. And literally, when I tried to tell them to you, you used to despise them because you knew enough of the word even then to know that these rules don't really mean anything, not biblically. These are man-made rules that put laws on people that don't mean nothing in the Bible, right? So here it is. You had enough wisdom and smarts enough to know this ain't the way I want to live my life. If I got to do all of this to please a person, this is not the way I want to live my life for Jesus, right? And so, but when I used to go preach and invite it to other places, I would tell you, either you can't go because you don't really want to be in that position to have to dress a certain way, or I would tell you, hey, you got to wear stockings. If you don't, it's gonna be an issue. And you're my wife, they're gonna look at you up and down. And some of them other sisters them older ones for sure, will easily come up to you and hurt your feelings. Because church folks, when they don't like something, well, we know you got your inner gangster, baby. We know. And that's the part y'all don't understand. Y'all don't understand. I hope it come out today. My wife got an inner gangster in her. She from the streets. Y'all don't play. Y'all from the streets. She in my opinion, I'm from I was a pew baby. So anybody that didn't grow up in church is from the streets, and far as I'm concerned. So I be waiting for it to come out, because I've seen it. I've seen the frustration on her face as it relates to church people. And it's a shame, really, that people almost rather despise church than to try to keep on trying to be loved by people for just being who you are. And not one single female in 20 years, we've been married almost 20 years, not one single woman has ever truly, completely embraced you in 20 years of being in the body of Christ. Now that is a whole shame.
It's
20 years.
It's really weird that because I don't know what the First Ladies Club is like, because I was never a part of the First Ladies Club. And it's not just the older people, it's the younger people too who are judgmental. It's First Ladies of all ages. Either you don't have on the stockings and you don't sit down and shut up, or you don't have on the Gucci attire or
the big shoulders.
Shoulder pad, or you don't
I have to laugh
have the right, brand of, nice, handbag or whatever, because maybe you just don't care.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't feel like there's an age limit to the disgusting way that people are, that I have been treated by other people who are in the same position as me.
Right.
We, first started our church in Little Rock or North Little Rock, and we were a part of an organization,
Oh
and
yeah.
I was invited to the first ladies brunch,
Mm.
and nobody sat at the table with me. And then one person that I already knew, who actually is, your cousin's wife, she came and sat at the table with me because it was just really a shame that I was invited to this place because, oh, we want to get to know you. And then everybody sat with who they already knew.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
nobody wanted to talk to me. And then the
Yeah.
people that I did try to talk to looked at me like I was, like I had the plague or something,
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, won't be coming back to any of these.
Right.
And didn't. And then so
we actually didn't last in the organization long because I refuse to be connected to anybody who can't embrace my wife. I'll tell anybody that. I walked away from organizations. I walked away from, they called them covenants, but I called them cults. Because of the fact that, like you said, people wanted you to shut up. People didn't want you to talk. People didn't want you to have anything to say. And because you did, and because I just didn't tame you and say, shut up, Kim, you don't have no right to speak because you are a woman. That's what they wanted me to do. They felt like my house was out of control. But I never feel like that.
That would not have been safe.
I would never do it. I would never do it.
Yeah.
I believe that my wife, and any woman for that matter, should have something to say because you're grown and you're an individual and you should have your own mind. The only person who don't want their wife or their spouse to have their own mind is a controlling, narcissistic fool. This a podcast, so I can say that. So this ain't church, so I can say that it's a controlling, manipulative, narcissistic fool. And if I can't be comfortable and man enough to know that my wife, who is more educated than me, who is more amazing than me, who has a better articulation and communication than I'll probably ever have, because I'm country and all of that, why can't she say anything? Why can't she speak from another perspective, even if her perspective is different from mine? A lot of people will look at your perspective being different from mine as us not being on one accord. Right. When really all it is that you have your own mind.
I'm an individual. I don't have to think like somebody else. I don't have to have the exact same perspective as you because I'm married to you.
Exactly.
I'm not a puppet.
Right.
Right. And so if people who think that we're not on one accord because we have two different perspectives about something need to,
Well, they don't understand marriage, because if you marry somebody who thinks like you, acts like you just married the chick from the first,
or they don't
come into America.
People in relationships at all.
Whatever what you like.
Because that's my call in life is not to agree with everything that you say.
Right.
Even as, you're my pastor. So I, as well as my husband, and I respect you in both of those rights.
Yep.
But that does not mean that I have to have the same perspective on everything as you have.
Right.
And I've been judged for not having the same perspective because I don't mirror every word that comes out of your mouth. I don't have to agree with everything you say in order to be appropriate. As long as I'm not disrespectful in my disagreement, then I'm perfectly appropriate.
Yep.
Even as a first lady.
Even as a first lady.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm an individual.
Yep.
And the label doesn't make me be somebody different than who I am.
Right.
I am me. I am Kimberly, Rochelle, Williams, Harris.
We can move the Williams out.
Period. That's who I was before I was Harris. And I don't, and because that's the thing, my identity, and I talked about identity some on Wednesday. I don't lose my identity because somebody wants to label me.
Right.
Have your expectations.
Right.
But that's your business and your problem if your expectations of me are not met, because I'm an individual and I have a call on my life the same as everybody else who has a call on their life. And my call is not the call of First Lady.
Exactly. That's not a call.
That is not a call.
Let me show you. Let me give you an example. So, Dr. Kim and I, she got a whole 3,000 or 4,000 secular degrees all the way up to a doctorate. And she's extremely smart, both secular and in the spiritual. And so the degree I'm actually working on now, I'm actually following up behind her as an example, getting the exact same degree at my MDiv. But I've been preaching way longer than she has. I've been in ministry way longer than she has. I've been doing all of this stuff longer than she has, but being, you know, trained, I feel like I'm doing something new academically. But the person who is really has the academic acumen in my family is my wife. So now when I write my sermons, when I preach my sermons, before they ever make it to a pulpit, we was just telling our church this not long ago, I run them by my wife, like over and over and over, and ask her, hey, should I say this? Is this all right? What does this sound like? Did I give the definition just right with that? To me, that's what the first lady does. Again, if it's an office, if it's a ministry, it's to her husband. Mm-hmm. It is not to the people. She can, now it's still not limited because she still can minister to the people. Right. But she doesn't minister to the people because she's a first lady. She ministers to the people because God gave her a call on her life. Just like Wednesday night, she taught the word of God. Why? She has a call on her life as a teacher. One of her spiritual gifts is the gift of healing. Anytime anybody gets sick in our church or someone is hurting or something, they don't even call me. They call her, not because I can't pray the prayer of faith and heal, but because she has the ministry of healing in her hands. And so we call on her to operate and function the way God has called her to be. I'm loud. She's a little bit more melancholy than I am. And that's and my friend Tara's on here from Kansas City. What's up, girl? She really talking too. Go on, keep talking, girl. But that's right, Tara. She's the helpmate. Right. So the office of a first lady or the call or whatever y'all want to call it, it to me, if you're gonna help your husband, it's more than just looking good with big shoulders, big hats, and big heels. Right.
Because at the end of the day, as far as my ministry to the church, my first ministry to the church is my ministry to you.
Exactly.
You have an armor bearer at church, but I'm your first armor bearer before you leave the house. Yes. These messages would never make it out of the gate the way that they're supposed to.
Right.
Because the sword, would be swording a little bit too sharp.
I'm trying to tell you.
But that's why God put me in the position that I'm in your life.
Yep.
Because he knew what you were,
because I got my daddy in me.
And he knew what you were called to, but he also knew, yes, you do.
That's real. I got my daddy. He ain't scared to say anything.
And I tell you.
But I can't preach to this generation and get by with the things my daddy got by with. Right. People were a little bit in a different mindset back then and a little bit more submissive. Today, they will punch you in the face for saying half the stuff that he said.
I want to go back to what you were saying earlier about your mom being quiet or more kind of maybe reserved or shut down. You can get, and I've been like that in seasons of ministry where it's like, you know what? I'm tired of trying to fight for me. I'm tired of trying to fight to be me and to maintain my identity among people who just want to strip me of who I am.
Who you are, man.
And make me be somebody else because I'm stubborn. Now I don't do horoscopes, but as far as horoscopes go, I'm a Taurus, the bull.
Yeah.
I am when I've made up my mind about something.
That's it.
I will compromise as far as give and take. I try to be easygoing in life because most things are not important enough for me to just tug of war and battle it out about.
Yeah.
But my identity,
I'm
because we have gotten into it.
Oh yeah.
About things that I'm not going to change this for other people. I don't care what if they judge you based on me being me, then either you care more about them or you're going to have to make a decision. Because I'm going to be me. I don't care what they think.
And that's the thing that I think that's so unfair because, again, I was a church boy. So I felt a loyalty to church more than I did to my marriage.
Yes.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Because when we first got married, if anybody called my phone, we could be laying in the bed on a Saturday morning with no plans to do nothing.
Just got in the bed because we both
had jobs.
And we worked overnight.
Yep. And so because of my unconditional loyalty to church, People could call me at 4, 5 o'clock in the morning and say, "Can you come down here? We don't have no musician. Come play for us in Timbuktu."
Yeah.
And here I go, baby, let's go.
Here
and
we
here you,
go.
me, you,
Trotting
and
along.
our baby going across town,
Yeah.
going to somewhere we ain't even know where we going to just to go play.
So sleepy that we shouldn't even have been driving.
Exactly, shouldn't have been driving. And just because somebody from church asked me to do something, I take my whole, get them up, let's go. You know,
Yeah.
we should have been having family time. Sometimes families break down because of too much church stuff. And when you are overly loyal to church people, you even recently, like all the stuff that you do, the reason why we even going live and different things like that, most of my lives is simply because I don't want you to have to sit up and edit my podcast, because people don't know how much work it takes to edit. This is the person who does all of my, she does all of my flyers. She does all of my creative stuff. She does all of my videos. She does everything that I need her to do. Well, here's the problem with that. Once I see that it's taking a toll on her, my wife knows if I need it done, I go and try to tell her, like, we got to get it done. We got to get it done if we have to get it done. But if I can find another way to get it done and not use her, you can best believe I'm going to set my wife free so she can fly. Why? Because I'd rather have a wife than to have a church. I'd rather have a wife than to have a platform. I would rather have a wife than to have a ministry. I would rather have a wife than to have, millions of dollars. I would rather have a wife than to have anything on this earth. Why? Because without her, I couldn't be who I am. So if I break her down because of my selfish ambitions, then guess what? And I don't think my ambitions are selfish. I feel like I'm operating in my calling because I'm in full-time ministry. I'm a full-time student and all of that. I feel like I'm doing exactly what God's called me to do. Right. But because God has called me to do it, he's called us to do it because he's given her the skills to help me do what I'm called to do. But I can't kill her while I'm trying to build me.
Right. Because I'm also full-time in ministry.
Exactly.
But I also have a full-time job. And that is a lot because my job wants me to do my job on their time.
Yep.
And so then I have to do
church job on your time.
My time. And then I go to sleep.
Yep.
And then I wake
literally
up. And then I do
stop,
it all over
put
again.
the computer up and go to sleep.
Yeah. And so for me, I feel like, and people can disagree or not disagree, this is how I feel. I feel like the first lady label role, the pastor's wife, is probably the most disrespected and disregarded.
It is absolutely the most
of any position or person in the church.
I agree 100%.
Because we just, no matter what, we just have to take it, and we better take it with a smile. We better not say a word. We better not dare complain about anything, because God knows if we do, then it's just a vicious cycle, because people that deal with the pastor however they want to deal with the pastor have no regard for the fact that the pastor's wife has to deal with how they deal with the pastor.
Yep.
And then if I deal with the people the wrong way because they done dealt with the pastor the wrong way, then that's going to bring more pressure on the pastor.
Yep.
Which is going to bring pressure into my marriage and into my house, because now I'm causing trouble for you, putting pressure on you with the people that you got to stand up and preach to.
Yep.
So I just got to swallow hard and pray to Jesus to help me to not do anything that is unseemly. While under pressure. Right?
And people don't understand.
And it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. I mean, people really think it's easy to stay in character. And when I say character, I'm talking about holding on to your true self.
Yeah.
While you really in your mind trying to see, I just want to lose it for 5 minutes. That's it. I want to show them you really don't need to be playing with me. Yeah. As that song they used to put on TikTok, try Jesus, don't try me. You know what I'm saying? Like, like that's like for real, like you starting to think all of this stuff and you thinking, Lord, one little bitty fight really would, my mind is going to Bernie Mac when he was on that movie with Chris Rock, and he was trying to be voted for the president, and he was going around just slap. He was just going around slapping people. Pow! Just like they're trying to speak to him. He's slapping people. And it's like, that's how I see sometimes, the pressure. People don't understand, man. You can really, you can lose it as your humanity. It takes real self-control.
Yes, it does.
Not because people are playing with just something in your life or irritating you. I can deal with irritation. But when you messing, like you said, when you messing with my identity,
right.
That's a whole nother ball game right there.
Right.
Don't play with my identity.
And because people don't understand or care about the fact that bringing pressure to you are my head.
Yes.
And so there are things that affect me directly because you can't do my husband like this and then smile in my face and I'm the first lady and I just got to smile back at you, act like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? That you are intentionally causing issues, and it is a whole, I'm telling you, which is why I don't understand why other pastors' wives, at least for me, have refused to be in relationship and connect with people who can understand, and maybe they connect with one another, but just didn't want to let me in the club. Well,
I'll say this: some of them may have wanted to connect with you, but because they didn't want to be connected with me, their husbands didn't want to be connected with me. They just shunned both of us.
Oh, well,
that's
whatever the case may be.
I mean, I've been around church enough to know that it's more than one reason why people don't connect. They may actually want to get to know you, but they already know me, and they don't want to be around me. So it could be for a few reasons.
That in itself is a problem. So, because that's just weird. But anyway.
Yeah, it is weird because somebody treat their marriage like that.
Yeah, but I've never been a cliquey, clubby person anyway. And so I don't necessarily need to be in a first ladies club, a group. It's just, I would think that there would be somebody or somebodies that would want genuine relationship, genuine ways to connect that you could trust, having conversations about the things that we go through. So that, because it is a real, like, people are not considerate of the fact that my mental health matters too.
Right.
Every pastor's wife, mental health matters too.
It matters, absolutely.
And our mental health is attacked quite a bit because we are usually, unless you just don't have a praying wife, we are usually the first line of defense. Yep. All of the darts that try to come for the pastor because he's the head and the devil is going to try to take out the head. Who do you think is if nobody else is praying, I'm the one who's trying to, because you're not just the pastor. I'm not just praying for the pastor. I'm praying for my husband because you're the head in my home as well as at Generation Church.
Can I address that in just a second? Just last week or 2 weeks ago, I was watching the service on YouTube, our service on YouTube, and I noticed that, I was preaching hard. And I wasn't, and I know that you wasn't standing, and the devil wanted to speak to me and say, church people gonna think that she's not supportive of you because she ain't up jumping and shouting.
Right.
And I almost addressed you and said, hey, I wanted, because I still have this struggle with somehow wanting to please what I think church folks is thinking, because I just don't want to hear the bull crap. Let me just say it that way. I told you I got my dad in me. So there are certain things that God's still working on. Yeah. But it's just stuff I just don't want to say. But the Lord told me, said, don't you dare tell the number one person that's sitting there really patiently praying you through this message. When people are patiently praying you through, they don't dance. They fighting demons that's trying to attack you while you preaching. She ain't standing because she's warring.
Yeah.
She don't have to look like your grandmother just to prove that she is interceding for you.
Right.
And he said, don't you break her spirit with this ideology of what people might be thinking, with this stuff, that things that people might be judging her for. Let them think whatever they want to about your marriage. Let them think whatever they want to about your ministry. And long as you and your wife know what you got, you guys don't have to prove it to no person on this earth.
Yeah.
And that's the fact. No, I don't care how many posts I make. I don't care how many Sunday evenings when I post on us and I snap and say, hey, we got this chicken and we on our way back to Memphis. It's been good today. That ain't who we are. That's just a little glimpse into a chicken box every Sunday that's about to stop because my wife ain't gonna let me have it no more. But at the end of the day, nobody can determine what kind of relationship that you have based on some Facebook posts. And I almost about to address something because this generation is saying that Facebook is your resume. Well, that can go both ways, because that's to say that you must know everything good about me too. But if I ain't telling you all that's good about me, then Facebook can't be my new resume. It can't be. The only way you're going to really get to know me is to sit down and actually get to know me. And if that ain't happening, you can judge me by anything you see on Facebook. It won't matter to me because that's not who I am.
Yeah.
Not all of who I am.
Yeah. I think, and I mean, let's be real. Like, there have been times in the past where you have addressed me according to those things about the way that, my behavior in church, as well as my social media presence.
Yep.
And it's like, look, you either want this
is good,
or you want that.
Yep.
You either want somebody that is focused, that's listening to you, that's praying for you. I don't learn by jumping up, running around, screaming.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But when I want, like, and I'm not running around anyway, even if I am, hollering back, I'm responding to the word. I love the word. I'm receiving the word, but I receive the word how I receive the word. Now, if I get up and act unseemly, then people are going to be like, you need to get your wife in check, because why is she up running up and down the middle of the aisle while you're, so either way,
but watch this though.
It's going to be a problem.
The folks that's running around couldn't even tell me what I preach. So guess what? I really have never really had a problem with it. The struggle has always been what other church folks was going to say, and the pressure they was going to put on me or my family, because they'll make me seem fake just because you ain't jumping.
Exactly. But that's the problem, is that we care too much about what other people think.
Yeah.
And I refuse to live a life where because the times that you've addressed me about, well, you got to do this, or they're going to think, church people are going to think this. And I know church people, I don't care. It makes me want to throw up.
Yeah.
To be told I need to act like this because the church people are going to think this and bring pressure on me. Well, you need to push that pressure when they bring it back over there on them, because you shouldn't care what they think.
Plus, why do you need to wear yourself out jumping and shouting? I need a driver to go back to.
Right, we both can't take a nap on the way back home.
Yeah, you can't wear yourself out, acting like everybody else. Somebody got to stay 2.5 hours to get us back home. So
exactly, But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be the first person to like and share every single thing that you post on social media.
Right.
You know why? Because I'm not on there all day.
Not only on the time.
I'm not always on there just waiting to see what you're going to post. If I have to do that, if somebody is checking that hard, then for me, come see me.
First of all, one, they don't have a life. Number two, you just want to be judgmental.
You skipped over the come see me. But no, for real.
If she said, come see her, come see her. But I promise you, it's like that movie line. You're going to walk over, but you're going to limp back.
But no, I'm serious, because I'm not a clown in a circus.
Right.
I'm not jumping through hoops because the church people, where are the saved people?
Yes.
I'm tired of the church people are going to think this, and the church people are going to think that. I am God's child. I am for the people, but I am not for the people's foolishness. I love people. I try to build a relationship with people. I'm there for people. I do have a ministry to people. I have a ministry of love to people.
Yes,
not just healing and not just teaching, but a ministry of love. I love people. I love to love on people, but I want to be loved on back. I care about people's mental and
Mm-hmm.
emotional well-being, but I want somebody to care
About
back
mine. Yep.
because if you see me looking some type of way,
Yeah.
maybe my head hurts.
Yeah.
Maybe I got a migraine. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm, you know what I'm saying? Maybe the
Mhm.
devil is attacking me.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to, be able to just have a moment to breathe. Maybe
Yeah.
I need to cry out at the altar.
Yeah.
Maybe I just need to be left alone.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Because sometimes that's needed. You do serve people, but you need moments. I mean, even Jesus had them.
Because I am
Jesus went away.
introvert. I am an introvert.
Yes.
And that means that I love people and being around people, but my energy gets depleted by a lot of activity. Even with my husband, he depletes me sometimes. And then I have to go and recharge by myself in the quiet.
Help a Lord.
I need a moment.
Yeah.
Don't come in here with your phone on TikTok all loud. Put your AirPods in. I'm having a moment of quiet because it'll send me over.
That's not how she said. Where those thousands of dollars of?
Where are the thousands of dollars
of AirPods you have?
Yes.
Put them on your.
You got all the kinds. Get one of them and put them on because I
That's
need
what
to
she say.
recharge in some peace and quiet because the pressure that comes if I don't recharge and the pressure keeps coming of being labeled a first lady. It had to be nice to the church people all the time. Even the ones that don't even talk to me, the other pastors and leaders and people in other people's churches that don't even talk to me, you certainly don't get to have an opinion about how I do me.
Right.
Because you want to judge my husband.
Yeah.
If you judge him, if people judge you based on me, then if they truly judge you based on me, then if one, they don't get to make a judgment because most of them have not even gotten to know me.
Absolutely.
Right. So if you don't know me, then you don't get to judge me and don't get to judge you based on me because you don't know me.
Yeah.
Right. And so anybody that wants to get to know me, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Exactly.
What? But
and you've been here, and it's like
I'm not here for.
It was crazy to me, and it just
because if I want a Gucci belt, I can buy one. So just because I don't wear one doesn't mean I can't fit in the first lady.
It's some things I can't respond to.
Because if I have to have that, and for order for you to want to be connected to me, I don't want to be connected to you because it's a problem.
Absolutely.
Something is wrong with that.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because I can get a prayer through.
You still got me on the Gucci belt. You just still got me on the Gucci belt.
I can get a prayer through. If I got on some if I got on some Chucks, I can get a prayer through. I can step on the devil's head, my size 11 Chucks. I sure can. I mean, I'm just saying. But if I want some Gucci
and can we say this? We're not against.
Can
I say this? We're not. I don't want people to think.
Don't explain. I'm not explaining anything. I said what I said.
Okay, then there we go.
If that's the only way that somebody can feel like I'm worthy enough to be connected to them, then don't. And there's no explanation needed for that. Because first ladies, some of us, we feel the pressure to have to explain every single thing.
Then I tell y'all,
I'm not doing that.
I told y'all, don't mess with her. I told you.
And I not on the Apostles' Corner.
Not on the Apostles' Corner because she can say what she wants. It ain't church.
I'll act right when I get back to church on Sunday.
It's not church.
But not today.
It's not church.
But no, because I feel like that makes me feel robbed of who I am.
Yeah.
And I don't want to feel robbed of who I am because I don't do that to other people.
I have watched this woman be the smartest person in the room and be quiet. Get in the car and repeat every dumb thing she heard. Yeah. And chose not to correct it just because she knew nobody could handle it if she said anything.
Well, and I know when I go into spaces where my voice is not valued, and I'm not going to waste something valuable in a space where it won't be valued.
No, I learned that from her.
I'm not going to do that. I take, and we say this all the time, I take every relationship for what it's worth. Mm-hmm. If you don't have to, you can choose to not value me. That's fine. I'm not going to cry about it, but I know when my voice is not valued.
Right.
And I won't waste it in spaces where it's not valued.
Right.
I'm not going to cast my pearl
Pearls
before
among
the swine.
swine.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to do that. And I had to learn that it's okay. Even if you have to, that's one of the biggest fights that I've had in my life. And especially, and I didn't anticipate that it would be this way coming into the body of Christ. But that's one of the biggest fights of my life that I have had and have every day is to maintain my own identity among people who want to strip you of your identity because you're the pastor's wife.
I feel you, because that's something that I feel like, and I've told you for at least for the last 2 years, coming into the reality of church life and growing up as a pastor, learning other pastors and leaders' failures and faults, and then growing up and having some of my own, and then being unwelcomed as a real, true, genuine believer in most churches because of the things that I've done, while some people have actually told me in secret what they've done, and I've held it and never said anything, while there are preachers and pastors that are committed to demonizing me for the last 20 years over something that's been done or may not have ever happened, at least not the way they said it. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's hard to even go into most churches today because you don't feel the freedom to be yourself. That's why I really don't care about open doors, because I've had them. I've been to the pulpits, I've been to the services, and I've been on the flyers, and I've been in the airways, I've been on the long rides. I've done it all. I've done half of that stuff before I ever turned 20. You know what I'm saying? I started preaching when I was 17. I've done half of that stuff when I was, before I turned 20. I don't say this. It's boring to me. It's boring to me. It's lonely. It's boring. And at the end of the day, I'd rather be effective in my assignment than to be stretched all across the world trying to prove a point to people that I'm anointed. And I'd rather come home to my wife. I already told you, if God ever done me like that, if he ever, at this stage in my life, if he ever put me in a position where I had to be gone all the time, he would have to make sure that my wife could travel with me. Because I wouldn't want to be on the road by myself, and I wouldn't want to leave you at home by yourself, because we empty nesters. Who you gonna be hanging around? I'm your best bud. There ain't nowhere in the world. There ain't nowhere in the world you gonna survive in this world without me. I can't survive without you. I mean, I'm just saying. I know you could. You'd probably be quiet. It'd probably be a lot quieter without me. But I'm saying, I mean, I don't know. I think my values are different. And probably because of what I grew up in and the way I grew up. I really value my home life. I really do. And that may suck, and that may look like I don't want to be something in the kingdom, but that's the thing. I feel like I already am. I literally do not feel like I'm missing out on anything by not being on a plane every day. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything because I'm not hooping and hollering and screaming for a church service every day. I don't feel like I'm missing nothing. I get to enjoy home life every day. We're grown enough as it is. We live in Memphis, and when we have a weekend here, it's phenomenal because we spend a lot of weekends in a hotel. So at the end of the day, I'd rather have a healthy home life than a healthy pulpit life. And if that makes me somebody that people can't respect, then so be it. I mean, whatever. I mean, your thoughts, everybody got an opinion, but I mean, your opinion don't pay my bills.
Right.
Like you said, I could get Gucci shoes. You get a belt, I get some shoes. I said it last week. People think I can't have something. I'm not buying stuff because I don't, I can't afford it. I'm not buying it because I don't want it. I don't need it. It's not who I am. And I'm not saying that others are, but I don't want it. I'm too country. What I look like going up at Generations Church where people needing food and people needing other things, and I got Gucci shoes on. Bro, I'm not doing that.
I mean, you could
That's
if you
just,
wanted to,
but that's just my,
I know.
that's just my take. I don't want to do it.
I know. I'm just saying, if you did, that's your business. But it
My
shouldn't.
neck- my-
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't matter what anybody's opinion is about it. That's what I'm saying. Like, some people only want to feel like you're good enough if you do a certain thing. I don't care. I don't have to explain to anybody as the pastor's wife why I don't like to wear big hats. If you wear big hats, that's your business.
Yeah.
Just don't sit in front of me. That's my thing. You can wear them all you want to, but don't look at me crazy because I choose not to. I don't feel like all that on my head. I don't. You know what I'm saying?
That's really what I love about her, because I didn't really marry her for the church. I didn't. And I wasn't a pastor, but I had already told her, I ain't marrying you for the church. I've already had those girls. I've had church girls all of my life. I like her. I don't just love her. I absolutely like her because she refuses. She refuses. She's just like me, and I love it because she is a radical individual that will not allow you to change her identity for nothing in the world. No. And I absolutely love it. She got degrees and all of that. And at the same time, she is so humble. She is so beautiful. She is so, I mean, the woman prays like I've never heard a woman pray in my life. I mean, you wouldn't believe what is on the inside of her. That's right, Tara. Tara know my life. Tara know my life. You know Tara from Kansas City. Yeah, she does her on her. I'm serious. I needed her. I needed somebody to help me get off this church boat that was about to destroy me. Yeah. Because that's what church was doing for me. Because I only found myself in my identity in what I did. If it wasn't a mic in my hand, or if I wasn't on a stage, if I wasn't singing or playing or preaching, I didn't feel like nobody. Yeah. Now I get nervous about going all these places, because it's some places that calling themselves a church and it ain't no church. Yeah. And yeah, I'm just sorry. That's just, let me get off that. That's a whole nother idea, you know. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I wanted my wife for myself. I didn't want my wife to be for the church. I wanted my wife to be for me. And I preached it. That was the whole point of me telling her that I was marrying her. I needed a wife. I didn't need somebody that was always just gonna be so churchy that we sitting up in the house with a tambourine and a B3 Hammond organ and drums, because she don't know how to live her life. And her whole thing was, I can't wait to get back to church. I wanted a home life. That's what I was missing in my life. I wanted a home life. I wanted something, a place that I can come home and enjoy. That's the reason why I really don't care about the traveling ministry for me, because I've done it all. It didn't really amount to anything for me. It didn't. Yeah. And I wasn't impressed by it. And it's just, to me, it tore up families. Yeah. It did, because most of us haven't been fathered or mothered well enough to even have that kind of ministry, to have a healthy family while doing it. And that's the truth. We don't have the tools to have both a positive and a healthy family and a thriving ministry that got us going away from home all the time. And that's why I don't want it. Yep. And if God wants it for me, He's going to have to teach me how to have a healthy marriage and a healthy ministry at the same time. Yep.
No, I feel like for me, at the end of the day, if nobody else ever accepts me for being me, I want to make God proud. I want to make God proud. If God is okay with me, now certain things, no, as a first lady, that I can't do, and I'm not going to do. You know what I'm saying? There are certain things that I have done, and I mean, I did it with your permission. But when the saints kept saying that my skirt was too short,
man,
I went ahead and lengthened my skirt.
Yeah.
Because now it's not to the floor, but it needed to be at an appropriate length so that people, because we are supposed to be, above reproach.
Right. Absolutely.
So even if you say, baby, I think the dress is fine, because I would always ask you, But I think you was thinking about it was fine for you.
Well,
Just in those moments, I don't think you were thinking about what the church people was
I don't, because I really took, man, my real heart of hearts, I don't care what church people say.
I mean, I get it. I'm just saying there have been things that I have, because it wasn't my identity. It's like I'm still going to wear what I want to wear because I like it, but there may be some things that I will not wear necessarily in church because, and mainly because I want to be a good example, but sometimes you cannot necessarily be being a bad example, but people will take what they feel like you're doing and then they'll go too far with it. Yes. And then we had people coming to church
Lord,
darn near naked. But then they wanted to challenge you and be like, your wife has on this. And I'm just like, but this material is good and it's not see-through.
Right.
And the sunlight.
I can't see your underwear.
I got it.
Or body parts.
I got it.
I'm just saying.
Anyways, sometimes people will take those things and then they will not follow me in any other example that I'm giving. That's good. But then take one thing and then not really follow my example, but take that as an excuse to do the most. And so then it's like, now I'm, the problem. And so there were some things that I had to be like, okay, well, because I want to please God and I don't want to be a stumbling block to anybody. So yes, I will make changes in areas like that, but it has to be something that I feel led to do. Like if I feel like I'm going to hinder somebody in some way or, lead somebody astray or leave a door open for somebody to make an excuse to do something that's absolutely the most in the wrong direction, then I will make, changes like that. But I'm not going to change who I am at the core. I'm not going to give up my identity. And I don't feel like anybody should do that. And any pastor's wife that feels like they should do that, either you're in the wrong church or you're married to the wrong person. Man.
Absolutely.
And or you yourself are not following God.
Yeah.
And that's really the only choices that it can be. And so I just, I want to be, I'm fighting for my identity, but also so that other people can understand that you really don't have to give up you in order to be a pastor's wife, in order to be married to the pastor. Right.
And can we say
you
this?
Just don't
say this. Some pastors' wife think because kind of like we was talking about the other day, when the president, I'm sure Michelle Obama didn't really ask to be a first lady, but her husband got elected to be first lady. And I'm sure she played a supporting role in making that happen and all of that. But now that you hear her talking about it now, you can tell that, it was nice.
She wasn't having
the time of her life. Wasn't having the time of her life.
Right.
But the biggest part was to show you how it is even set up even in the United States government at the top of the at the head of state. They give the first lady an assignment to keep her busy.
She has to make up a platform.
Yes, she had to make up something, or they give her something to do so that she could appear to have a purpose in the White House, because they already know for these 4 years at least, your husband gonna be preoccupied with America and the world, really the world system, and so they give her something to do, and so I think that kind of filtered into the church, that idea that sometimes people feel like, well, the first lady should have this kind of ministry or that kind of ministry, or she should produce this or produce that. Listen, if that woman is doing nothing but being kind to you, loving to you, praying for you, ministering to you, and loving on you and all, and she's doing, the ministry and serving her spouse, I think that woman is doing an amazing job. She's raising her kids to love Jesus and all of that. And even if their kids go astray, stop beating up the parent, because your kids going astray too. Your kids sleeping around. Your kids got issues and stuff. Leave the first family alone. That ain't fair. I mean, God knows the stuff I probably did to embarrass my mom and daddy. But I mean, I can be honest and tell you. I can be honest and tell you that they didn't teach me to do that.
Right.
I chose to do that. So I can't blame them for the bad decisions and choices that I made.
Right.
And it's not fair to hold them hostage and act like they didn't try. Man, all the whoopings I got, all of the, I think I can say it now, they won't go to jail. All the beatings I got, slapping, chasing around, man, that the stuff I did had nothing to do with them. Those were my choices. That was me following my flesh and doing the things I wanted to do. I just don't think it's fair because we love our kids, whether they bad or not. You love your kids, whether they bad or not. You don't want nobody telling your child's business and running them down. Don't run down my child. You know what I'm saying? My child grown right now. My child know how to live for God. She probably know how not to live for God. Hey, at this point, she already knows it's her choice. But if she make bad choices or good choices, it's not a reflection of us. It's a decision she choosing to make right now. That's it. It's the decision that she's choosing to make right now on her own. So at the end of the day, the first lady really needs the same kind of love and respect that that matter of fact, I say all the love and respect that you can give her, because that's a lot of weight for a person who didn't ask for something. That's a lot of, they didn't ask for it. You know what I'm saying? Even if they know I'm marrying somebody with a purpose that God has placed on their life, they didn't ask for that. So they don't ask for your ridicule. I remember growing up, there was one pastor's wife. We went to an anniversary and the church was full of young women and clearly people were attracted to her husband. And I guess she didn't dress right or something about her, because she didn't ask for this. She didn't ask for her husband to be a pastor. She got up at their anniversary one time, and I can still hear her voice. I was 5, 6, 7 years old, something like that, and I'm still remembering on the front row listening to this woman get up, and her response or her comments at their anniversary was saying, "Don't talk about me. Don't talk about me. Don't talk." That was everything she said that day, was begging the church not to talk about her. And I remember that was my mama conversation in the car the whole time. She said, "I felt so bad for that lady."
Yeah.
She said, "I felt her pain. I felt that." And it's like, man, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is church. And this woman is standing up in church begging people not to talk about her. And it wasn't long. She left her husband.
Wow.
Because of the church. She didn't ask for it.
Wow.
She didn't ask for it. And she wasn't going. She wasn't going. And I'm going to tell you right now, quiet as it kept, the non-ambitious first lady, who ain't just happy to be sitting there because the ministry benefits her in some kind of way, she's sitting there going like, this is a mess. Because she got to suffer for something that she never asked for. She got to endure something because she loves a man, but she don't love the ministry. And some people in their mind have already been contemplating divorce. It's just that they don't have a problem with the man. They just got a problem with the mission.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you.
It's real.
And people don't talk about it. Yeah. They do not talk about it. I remember doing the first ladies thing, and I didn't think I was supposed to be in the room. And one of the ladies that spoke out, she's dead. She died shortly. Actually, she died as soon as COVID hit. And I was in the room. I was the first man that actually did a first ladies session in the council. And I'm sitting there. Oh, I didn't think I was supposed to say council, but anyway, I said it now.
Carry on.
But when they walked in, like, "What are you doing in here?" And it's like, here I am, put in this position by church people to do something because their facilitator wasn't there. And because I was just hanging out at the church, they said, "Go ahead and talk to all the first ladies." And I'm in there, and because God gave me the wisdom to talk to them. So I just opened up the floor for them to express their pain. And the lady that died during COVID, first few weeks of COVID, the lady that died started crying. She said, "Y'all don't know me and I don't know y'all." She said, "I don't have no friends in church. I don't have no friends in the church I attend, and I don't have no friends in this group. I feel alone.
Wow.
I feel alone. But she was married to one of the major bishops in the organization, but she felt by herself with listen at this, with all of those people around her. She felt alone.
It's easy.
Now, my question to myself when I thought about her dying, I went right back to that day, and I'm wondering, Lord, did she die with a broken heart? Did she die no longer having friends after that day? Or did somebody hear her? Or did we just go back to being important again? Did we just go back to being wonderful? And I'm married to Bishop Willie Wonka, and we got 1,000 members in our church. You know what I'm saying? We're successful, and that's all that matters. Your broken heart don't matter to me.
It's a lonely, it can be a very lonely life in church. Now, as as an individual, you can, you can have friends and be thriving, but you want to have people who understand, who are on the same path and the same experience, the same things because of your positioning in life. You want to have a camaraderie with people who can understand life from your perspective.
From your perspective.
And it's hard when you don't, because who do I tell my first lady struggles to?
Yeah.
You're not a first lady, so you're not going to understand. And I don't complain about 95% of the things that
but I know it
bother me.
I be knowing it.
You know what I'm saying? Because what are you going to do about it? You can't even identify with it.
Yeah.
It can, and I don't want to put more pressure on you and frustrate you more with something that you can't do anything about and that you can't even identify with. Right? Because
and I've considered, but I know it, because sometimes, just like I've left groups, I've left, organizations, I've considered leaving the church, the pastorate, because again, I'd rather have my wife. And anybody that come for my wife is coming for me. Anybody that come for my family is coming for me.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't mess with somebody that I love. Yeah. We don't even have to be perfect. We could have had a blowout argument. It don't matter, which we don't have for the most part. But thank God for that. I can only remember 3 since we've been married. But at the end of the day,
not you count.
Girl, I remember drama. I can tell you that right now. I know a good fight, and I can remember. But I thank God you're not that person. That we have learned, we know how to talk to each other, even when we don't agree with each other. But at the end of the day, we could be on bad terms, but can't nobody disrespect you. And I find out about it, and it's gonna be a problem. So when I see the pressure. Sometimes I don't feel like prayer is enough. I don't know how to always protect, because I didn't see protection. You know what I'm saying? When with the first lady that I knew of, which was my mom. And I don't think my dad knew how, because he was in church. He grew up in church too. And so the commitment to the church never really was in favor of marriage or homes or families.
Yeah.
They were judged by it, but there was no real tools that were given to produce healthy marriages while in ministry, or healthy. That's why you got pastors' kids that don't want to see another church door in their life.
Yeah. And a lot of times, Kiana and I, because she would see a lot of just growing up, a lot of the pressure, and a lot of times pastors' kids aren't upset necessarily as much about how they are treated, but how their moms are treated.
That's true.
And they could become very protective.
She's definitely protective. Even with me sometimes, because I think she think that I don't see, but it's really that I'm in a tough place. I don't know how to respond to it.
Yeah. And so it can affect, really a lot of people in your life, and it affects your family, it affects your kids. But I don't have a problem being a pastor's wife. I have a problem being a first lady.
Wow.
I really don't have a
Wow.
problem being a pastor's wife.
Wow.
I don't have a problem being the executive pastor of Generations Church.
Yep.
I don't have a problem loving the people. I love Generations Church. I
Me too.
love the people of Generations Church.
Yep.
I do. And I try to show them love all the time. I have a problem being a first lady because of what comes
The
along
stigma.
with that, the stigma, the negative connotations, the judgments, the just the unrealistic expectations that come along with that. Those are the things that I have a problem with. And the fact that people feel like when you're a first lady that you have to hand over your identity to them
Yes. Wow.
and let them give you the identity they want you to have.
Wow.
It will never happen. It will never happen. It will never happen. Amen. 7:25. Honey.
Hey, listen, we almost been on here an hour and a half, but because this is live, I want to open it up to questions. If somebody on here that want to ask something, we lost a few people, I'm sure, because of time, but or maybe, like I said, some people gonna be happy, some people gonna be strengthened, some people might get mad, but it's still the truth.
It's Friday night,
and it's Friday night,
people got
so
things to do.
Yeah, so you got any questions or comments? You know, at the end of the day, you know, we want to be able to help. You know, I think this is a conversation that need to be in the body of Christ more than not, because especially in the Black family, we have to admit that the woman has been a backbone in our families. You tear that woman down, you pretty much have torn the whole house down, because men aren't doing half the things that women are doing in homes. And so, to put that woman in a church setting and then ask her to give more of herself, or even to be something for somebody else that could care less if she took her last breath or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's a lot. And our church is growing. I can say this, what I feel, and I may be stepping out there, but I believe that at this season, and I told you this Wednesday night, I feel like your voice is being more respected at Generations, that the people are loving you more at Generations. I believe they are really getting to know who you are and allowing you the opportunity to be who you are. You know what I'm saying? I can't say that you're not a threat to some. I can't say that you're not offensive to some, because sometimes being able to be yourself is a threat to some people, because people these days spend so much time trying to prove stuff to people that they don't know who they are.
Yep.
They trying to prove their ideal self to other folks rather than just being they self, flaws and all. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. So I think that this is a great conversation that need to be had, and I think a lot of first ladies really need to be healed, because they're carrying stuff that they don't want to, like you said, they don't want to tell their husbands, because they scared they're going to either get in a fight with them, depends on who the husband is, they get in a fight or argument with them, or they feel like they're going to break them down, but what I thank God for me is that I have eyes to see when you've had enough. That's the thing. I love that about myself, and I respond to it, and I get busy trying to lighten that load when I feel like now I put way too much weight, because this your wife. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, this your wife, bro. You know what I'm saying? You lose her, you lose the strength, you lose the person who got your back, and you ain't got nothing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got God, but you ain't got nothing else, because you already can't trust everybody, and this is the one person without a shadow of a doubt that has your back at all times, good, bad, and the ugly, successes and failures. This is the one person who see you for who you really are. You lose her, you're gonna feel real. You're gonna feel that absence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna feel that absence. So I try to do everything I can to protect you from the weight of ministry. And I ask you, do you want to quit this? Do you want to quit that? I'd rather pay for this than have you do it, so I can have you. You see what I'm saying? And though that's the stuff that I like, you know, um, that I have a sensitivity toward you, because I've seen it too many times where the family is destroyed, the wife is destroyed, broken down, and then the husband, the wife dies, then the husband go marry somebody 18 years younger. You know what I'm saying? Looking stupid, marry somebody younger, just to say he can move on. You know what I'm saying? When really, if you had been there to support your wife more and lighten her load and assist her, then she probably still be here. She probably still be here. So that's the idea that I have of the first lady, and that's some of the stuff that we've been talking about and all of that. And so that's what I want you guys to know. I mean, apparently nobody has any questions today, but I'm glad that you guys joined us. I hope you were inspired. I hope that you had, that you got encouraged. I hope you will fight for your identity and won't let anybody destroy or destroy your identity with their false or their unwarranted or undesirable expectations. You're not here to fulfill everybody's expectations. I'm like that. I'm not a bull by astrology, but I'm bull. I'm a bull anyway, because I will not allow anybody to take what I know I am. It's some things I'll be willing to give up. There are some things I'm willing to let go of who I am. I can't do that just to be with you. I can't, and I won't.
Man.
I won't. And by the way, if you see me in some Gucci shoes, it's because I wanted them.
Shut
up. I'm just saying. I just have to keep saying that
Wrap it up.
because you know me.
I know.
If you see me in them, it's because I wanted them. That's right. Y'all, we love y'all. The Apostles Corner is on your digital downloads on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, all of those things, anywhere you get digital downloads. You can also check us out on Facebook now and YouTube, because we're on live. You just replay. And please, by all means, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to my digital audio channels. Share these podcasts with a friend. Listen, this has probably been one of the most valuable ones. You got a first lady in your life, I'm asking you to send this to her. You got a first lady friend, send this to her. If you got somebody that just want to wear big shoulder pads and sit on the front row and get anniversaries and just think that they want to be a first lady, share this with them, because I want them to know I don't have a problem with your ambition. I got a problem with you wanting to change your identity. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'd rather take away every title that church has given me, even the ones that God has given me, to be who he created me to be.
Amen.
I don't need a title to be me. I don't. And I don't need to fulfill false expectations to be who God called me to be. Your idea of me is just your idea of me. Your idea of Dr. Kim is just your idea of Dr. Kim. You'll never get to know who she is until you actually sit down and talk to her and get to know who she really is. That's it, first ladies. This was dedicated to all of y'all. Be yourself.
Be yourself.
You don't owe nobody anything but God. And that's a fact.
Amen.
All right, y'all. Until next time, real conversations, real people, real life. We'll see y'all very soon.